Hello, and welcome to my section of BCom. My name is Richard Kirsten, and I'll be your instructor for the fall 2018 term. Well, actually, I'll be your instructor for every class other than this one, because right now, I'm in Istanbul, not Atlanta. Or is it Constantinople? But seriously, this is Turkish coffee. And right here, that's the Blue Mosque. And now we're inside the Hagia Sophia. I knew I would be out of the country long before I agreed to teach this semester. In fact, I originally declined to teach because I knew I'd be unavailable for the very first class. But they really needed coverage, so I agreed to facilitate this section of BCom, and with Georgia State's full understanding that I would have to miss today's class. Not to worry, I'll be back next week and you'll get to experience my really corny jokes in person. But first and foremost, I'd like to say thank you to Nicole Pearson for covering for me today. So now a little bit about me. I'm a working professional. I'm not a full-time faculty member. In my day job, I lead a team of nearly 100 clinical and research professionals who work in the Department of Neurology at Emory. The team of people that I'm responsible for run 2 clinics for people with Alzheimer's disease and other dementias. They manage a statewide initiative for the early diagnosis of memory issues, as well as a $75 million portfolio of nearly 40 clinical trials and research programs. This means that I spend the majority of my time in the trenches, working and communicating as a business professional. I've been in industry for more than 15 years. I've been on the front line, the manager, and the director levels. In other words, I am first and foremost a practitioner. I earned my undergraduate degree at the University of Denver and my doctorate at the University of Florida's Huff Graduate School of Business. However, between those two, I earned my MBA right here at Georgia State's Robinson College of Business. So all of this is to say that I've benefited from a robust business education, and that means you can call me Mr. Kirsten, Dr. Kirsten, Instructor Kirsten, or if you have trouble pronouncing my last name, you can just call me Dr. Rich. I teach this class because I like to help people. I know that's a little bit crazy and somewhat uncommon for faculty, but it's actually true. I like watching people grow. It's something that all of my favorite managers and all of my favorite professors had in common. In fact, the word doctor doesn't have anything to do with internal medicine, and it doesn't mean someone who knows a whole lot or has a ton of student debt. It actually comes from the Latin word docere, which means to show, teach, or cause to know. It's all about developing others, which is what great leaders and great communicators do. So now here's what you need to know about this section of BCom and what makes it so unique. The first thing is that I'm going to do my very best to make this the most outstanding experience for you as possible. I did not design the course, but I do work as hard as I can to make this an awesome experience for you. What's the proof? Well, earlier this week I emailed each of you a number of videos. These are videos from students in the spring and summer sections. They were actually crafted as separate from the course assignments, and those students are giving you great advice about how to navigate the course content, about the lessons they learned, and about mistakes they made along the way. Those sections, student evaluations, are also downright awesome. Last semester and the semester before, the students for whom I was responsible rated this section of BCom 2 to 3 standard deviations higher than the other BCom sections. My class even rates 2 to 3 standard deviations higher than the department or even the College of Business. So that's statistical data dork speak for you definitely landed in the right section of this class. Now, here's the fine print. In this class, there are no computers, no iPhones, and no tablets allowed. Yes, I know that's going to be an unpopular thing, but here's the deal. Cognitive neuroscience tells us that we might have significant potential for short and long-term memory, but it also tells us that we have finite attentional resources. That means that the data tell us that we can really only pay a meaningful amount of attention to one thing at a time. In this class, I'm asking you to be physically, emotionally, and cognitively present. You're going to get more out of the class that way, and you're also going to bond with each other far more than you would otherwise. It's one of the things that really, at the end of the term, when you're wondering what has made this class and this experience so unique, this policy is going to be one of those factors. Another thing is that attendance is required. In some classes, you can get away with either going to class or doing the homework, but this is not one of those classes. Sorry, there's just so much that you have to do in this class and you really can't afford to miss any sessions. There are so many in-class deliverables, and you'll be accountable to each other for some projects like your group presentation. Therefore, I take attendance each day. You actually end up losing 2 points for each late arrival and 10 points for each absence. After 2 absences, the syllabus actually allows me to withdraw you from the course. Besides, if we're all going to fight traffic to drive downtown straight from work, pay for parking in order for me to hold court for 2.5 hours, then I'm darn sure going to make sure it's worth everyone's time for all of us to be there. So as I said, there are a lot of assignments in this class. However, I'm going to do my very best to help make that as painless for you as I can. Every class, I'm going to actually clarify what the upcoming deliverables are. I'm going to take questions about what's due, where it's due, and what it should look like. I'll probably even give you some examples. I'd really encourage you to pay attention at that point in those classes. Class participation is also really important. But if people don't participate, well, I'll call on folks. I don't do this to be a jerk. I do it because it's the best way that I can help this class be a dynamic experience for everyone. But here's the thing. Class participation isn't about quantity, it's about quality. Yammering on repeatedly doesn't earn points, it just annoys people. I'm also going to learn all your names. I'd actually ask you to learn each other's names as well. And the reason is because this class requires significant interaction, including providing positive and constructive feedback to each other. Doing that's a lot easier when you know who you're talking to and when you've built a solid rapport with your colleagues. We're also going to do more than regurgitate content from the textbook. The Carden book's pretty good. However, I'm going to, at every turn, try to supplement that content with my own knowledge and with lessons I've learned after 15 years in the workplace. We're going to focus on the assignments in class so that you're completely clear on what you need to do, but we'll also process some of the material in what I hope will be a really salient way. For example, I've designed some interactive exercises that will make the course content less subjective and much more real world. I've read up on some of the things that are discussed in the Carden book, things like cultural intelligence and emotional intelligence and their role in communication. My goal is so that we can have actual intelligent conversations with each other about those things, not just talk about what Carden wrote. So the textbook also has some unique content on civility in the workplace. Well, it turns out that I did my doctoral dissertation on the impact of incivility on attention and risk-taking. So, I'm going to show you what the actual social scientific research says about rudeness and why it is such a problem in business. I'm sure you're going to agree that at the end of it, you'll find that research to be nothing short of fascinating. I'm also happy to review your resumes, your cover letters, or your LinkedIn profile. Even though that really isn't a part of the course structure, it's something I'm happy to do for you as a value add. As a manager, I've reviewed thousands of resumes, I've interviewed hundreds and hundreds of people, and I have no idea how many people I've hired and managed, but it's a lot. All I ask is that you give me a few weeks to turn around my thoughts and give me a little bit of information about where you're trying to go professionally. I'd also recommend that this section set up a GroupMe for the entire class. I'm happy to answer your questions myself, but often you're all going to ask the same question. And later on in the workplace or in grad school, you're going to find that your peers are struggling to address the same issues that you wrestle with. Plus, it'll create an awesome environment for you all to talk about what an awesome instructor I am. So here's what to expect from BCom as a course. This class, like I've said, is a lot of work, and there's really just no getting around it. There are a lot of deliverables, and there's a lot of reading to do. There are about a zillion online assignments in the McGraw-Hill Connect website, and there are a bunch of bigger assignments that are due in iCollege. If you don't think you can give this class your full effort, you should withdraw and take it in another term. My feelings won't be hurt, and you'll probably get more out of the class if you take it in a semester where you won't be stretched too thin. I'm going to do what I can to help make resources available to you, and I'm going to do my best to make the assignments as clear as possible. However, you have to do the heavy lifting. I will absolutely do my best to help people, but I have zero empathy for those who just don't do the work. There are 1,500 points possible in this course. They're earned one at a time. Seriously, there's a lot to do. So I'd highly recommend that you join the class on Connect and you begin completing the first set of Connect exercises right now. You can even try the book for a couple of weeks before buying it. You should also take a minute and review the informational interview assignment. It's really key. You basically get a freebie this week in terms of class, so I would recommend getting ahead of the process now. If you come to class, if you participate actively, and if you do the work, you'll almost certainly earn enough points to pass the class. If you don't do the work, you're not going to pass. So again, I can't do anything about the fact that this class is a lot of work. But if you roll up your sleeves and you stick with me, I'll do my very best to get as many of you across the finish line as possible. And in my section, hopefully you're going to learn much more than is in the textbook. You'll have fun, you'll see why the assignments actually add true value to your professional growth, and you'll end up with a professional contact and a resource for life. So in conclusion, I shared 3 things with you. I told you a little bit about who I am and why I teach this course. I told you a few things that you need to know about my section and what makes it unique. And finally, I told you what to expect about BCom. If you have any questions in the meantime, you're welcome to contact me via email at rkirsten@gsu.edu. Otherwise, I'll see you next week.